so much written about him over the years, but he's sort of like the most famous man in the world who's hiding in plain sight. He's an enigma in many ways, and so we went into it thinking we really don't know much about him at all, except for this image, this facade that had really been created around him.
The Boy in the Shed is just a story of my life. I just started to write a story about that boy's journey, and it's been quite a journey really. So I grew up in the Troubles in Ireland and left home very young to play for Newcastle United. Left that when I was 21 to go off and be a physiotherapist. Came back to Newcastle United in 1993, stayed for many years, converted to law, thought I was going to have a career in law, and then came back to Newcastle United as part of Alan Shearer's management team.
This is a good story. This is a story about what happens when other people help you to fulfill an ambition. It's about the power of a dream and people giving you their time, and that can't be a bad story at all. My 4-year-old daughter, Rosie, asked me the other day if she could swim the channel one day, and I said, if that's what you want to do, of course you can, because you're capable of anything.
It's about the life, the extraordinary life of a boxer called Eamon McGee. From Belfast. He grew up in the 70s throughout the Troubles. He had a lot of battles outside the ring. He was a successful amateur boxer and then went on to become the WBU champion of the world. To win the William Hill Sportsbook of the Year would be a massive honour. I think it's the one that, you know, anyone that in any shape or form writes about sport, that's the one people keep their eye on each year.
The real points of difference in Fiji, you know, in my first couple of weeks when one of our star players was lying on the floor in the village, and I asked him what was wrong, and he said, someone's cursed my legs. You know, I didn't get that at Twickenham. You know, that wasn't something that occurred, that the boys had used as an excuse. The key thing for me was to, rather than just say, no, look, obviously you're being ridiculous and black magic doesn't exist, I just listened. I understood where it was coming from, and then we kind of met in the middle.
You know, I wanted to write a book about the Olympic Games of Berlin, but also about the city of Berlin, about the life of Berlin, about the people of Berlin, what happened during that 16 days. And then, you know, the idea to make 16 chapters out of it came immediately as I saw that there were 16 days happening with the games.
Corey Cadby, who I think is probably the next greatest player, told me in all honesty that he doesn't practice. So I think it's a gift, but I also think it's a gift of perseverance, because once you're able to get up to the top level, you have to play at that level twice a week.
We had 6 judges, and we ended up in a very, very long discussion, which got quite heated and quite animated and quite loud on occasions, actually. And in the very, very early hours of the morning, we finally said that for the first time ever in 30 years, the trophy was going to be shared by 2 of the books on the short list. Without further ado, 3, 2, 1, here we go. And the 2 winning books are A Boy in the Water by Tom Gregory and The Lost Soul of Eamon McGee by Paul Gibson.
The William Hill Sportsbook of the Year is by far the biggest, most prestigious award for a sports writer. You know, it's books that I grew up reading purely because of that little sticker on the front. You know, Don McRae that was there today is a big inspiration of mine. He's won it twice, so you know, to be able to even consider myself anywhere near his level of author is just a huge honour. It's massive.
It's the biggest prize in sports writing, and as a first-time, probably one-time author, that's absolutely thrilling for me. But I think more than that, people who've read the book will know that actually in many respects that story is far less about me than a tribute to the person who made it all possible, a chap called John, who's the coach on the cover of the book.